Like I said in one of my previous videos, I do have the rank 1 best Jinglius out there, and I decided that I wanted to make like a video where I share my thoughts about her place in the meta, what are her best teams, like what kind of gear that she needs. And in the second part of the video, I will also be making like a showcase in the new mock that we just got, because actually we just got a mock this update reset, so it's like a good chance. And anyway, the purpose of this video is just to share some of my thoughts about Jingliu in general for like the 2 or 3 people who are still maining her to this day. Because Jingliu, to be honest, is like a very old character by now, and she's not really great, to be honest. She's very weak. Like, I'm just gonna be straight up honest. She's kind of weak compared to the newest characters. And the only reason why my Jingliu is still performing well is just because I have invested so much into her. But yeah, let's get into it. So let's talk about our beloved Jingliu. So Jingliu, as many of you nowadays know, like she's an HP scaler, right? So after her buffs, she used to be an attack scaler before, but now she is an HP scaler, and this changes everything about her. Like, she changed her team comps, she changed her gear, like even her light count choices now have like changed, because actually her signature is not her best in slot nowadays. Her best in slot is actually Mighty's, because the thing about her signature, even though they buffed her but they didn't change her light count, I don't know why. I think they should have at least changed her light count, because her light count is still scaling more of attack than HP. It doesn't give as much HP compared to the other HP scalers, like for example Blade. Like, if you see Blade, his light count gives more HP compared to Jingliu. Like, I know it might sound like 100 base HP is not too much, but it's actually a lot, because it scales multiplicatively with your gear. So even if it's just 100 or 200 HP, that makes a lot of difference. Just for reference, if I use a Mighty's light count right now, I think my HP would go up to like 8.8, like 8,800 HP, or something around that line. Maybe slightly more, maybe slightly less, but you get the idea. So her Litecoin choices have changed, but some of the biggest changes that she got were in her dupes. So, like, the dupes that she got, like her E1 is now significantly better compared to what it used to be, because nowadays, like, the dupe from before, like, it was very clunky. If you're using her in AoE, you don't really benefit too much from her. But nowadays, the splash damage that she gets is kind of significant, and the damage is more concentrated in one target compared to being spread out on different targets like it used to be. And the second one is like her E4. So her E4 is very weird. Like, I know E4 for other characters is not significant, and even for her is not like game changing, but with her E4, like, she gets so much crit damage. Like, even without her E4, she has one of her talents that gives her a lot of crit damage, and on top of that, she gets even more. Like, from here, like, she gets 48 crit damage for each stack, and that stacks up a lot. And then she gets even more from her E4. Like, what? I think it's not uncommon to see like Jinglius that have like 900% crit damage or something. But in my opinion, the biggest change was with her E6, because her E6 now gives her 30% rest ban, and this 30% rest ban is actually very significant. Because I remember back when, after the buffs that she got, I noticed that, like, right off the bat, she was already doing almost, or maybe even more than double the damage that she used to do before her buffs. And this was before I even started grinding for new gear, because you remember when she got the Nova Flare, we had to change her whole gear, and now she is an HP scaler, so you have to refarm everything. I did have a couple pieces here and there that had some HP, but those were not that great. But even with suboptimal gear compared to the one that I had when she was an attack scaler, she was already stronger. So objectively, the buffs are good. Like, the buffs she got are really good, but that still doesn't really make her a strong character overall. The other big change that she got, though, was the fact that she can now stay permanently in her transmigration state, and this was like a huge quality of life, because before, like, she only had 2 or 3 turns depending on no, I think it was 3 turns or 4 turns depending if you have E6 or not, that you can stay in her transmigration state. So her transmigration state, she had to wear it off, and then you have to go back in it, and it was so miserable. But now, once you enter your transmigration state, it's basically permanent, but there is one catch, and the catch is gonna be Hyacinth. So I'm gonna be honest with you. If you want to play with Jingliu, like, if you are actually interested in investing in a Jingliu team, your highest priority should be Hyacinth. But the issue is not that you only have to get Hyacinth, but you also need to get her light count. Like I said before, Jingliu now can stay permanently in her form, in her transmigration form. The reason because is that if any teammates in the team lose HP, then if they take damage 20 times, she gets one of her stacks, the CG stacks, like the dots that she has where she can stay in her transmigration state. So every time someone in the team takes damage 20%, and this is collectively, it's not like just one teammate. Like for example, even if the boss hits you, like if he hits four teammates, then you get that tally increases by 4 up to 20. Once you reach 20, then she gets one stack. So anyway, the reason why Hyacinth is good is because her light cone makes it so that every time she ults or she is in her ult form, like basically she makes the team lose HP. Like it's just a fraction of the HP, like 1 or 2% HP for the team, and that lost HP loss contributes to making Jingliu stay in her transmigration state. So this is why Hyacinth is really good for her, because without Hyacinth, I don't think it's going to be comfortable for you to stay in Jingliu's transmigration state. You would have to rely on enemies hitting you and on their AoE, and it's just a lot of troubles if you don't have Hyacinth, because Hyacinth just makes it so that she can stay comfortably in her transmigration state. But yeah, if you want to invest in Hyacinth, in Jingliu, then invest in Hyacinth. The other thing that Hyacinth also gives is the fact that she gives increased HP percent, and that increased HP percent is very significant, because the thing with the HP scalers is that they don't have many resources to increase the HP. Because for example, with the attack scalers, there's a lot of resources that increase the attack percent, right? But the HP scalers, they don't have that luxury. So yeah, and this is actually one of the reasons nowadays we even use an HP main stats body. We don't use crit damage, because like I said earlier, she gets way too much crit damage from her like Eidolons, and from times she gets an insane amount of crit damage. You start getting diminishing returns if you use a crit damage body piece. So you have to use an HP percent one. Don't use a crit damage, or especially don't use a crit rate, because the crit rate requirements are still low. Especially if you use it with Sunday, you only have to build 30%. And if you have like an E2, E6, not even E6, I think it's like E5, then you only need 28, because she gets 52 instead of 58 from her transmigration state if you read it in here. So you only need 28. So I'm kind of overcapped in crit rate in here, but I don't have anything to do about it. But anyway, so these are the important things. If you want to play Jingliu, then you absolutely need to get Hyacinth. Hyacinth is like a core character for the Jingliu team. The next event would be like characters like Sunday, because Sunday, what's really good about him is the fact that he provides 20% crit rate, so it makes it so they can easily build more HP and speed. And you also need and also it gives her the energy. Like he gives her energy. So the reason why she wants energy is so that she can ult more often. And the more she ults, the more stacks she gets. Because when she ults, she gets one stack of her CG. So that helps her even more to stay in her transmigration. And he's just generally a good buffer. Like I already have him at E1, so to combine the defense trade that he gives her with everything she does, so that's a lot of damage. And her other team, so the team that I personally use is that I use her with Sparkle and Sunday. So Sparkle, I also got her E2 specifically for Jingliu and for Akron, but Sparkle is good because she gives after her buff, because she gives the action advances and a lot of buffs. So the only buff that Sparkle has doesn't benefit Jingliu is the attack buff that she has in her ult. Where is her ult? So she gives, I think it's in her, yeah. So she has an attack buff. So this is the only buff that she doesn't benefit Jingliu. But everything else is good for Jingliu, especially the defense trade that she gets in here, combined with the defense trade that Sunday also gives her. So that's a lot of defense trade. And if you know, like the more you stack defense trade, the better it is. But yeah, personally, this is the team that I like, because the reason I like this team is because it gives more actions to Jingliu. Another team that a lot of people use is the 3B team. So people use 3B alongside either like characters RMC or even Cyrene, or maybe they still keep using Sunday too. Personally, I'm not a big fan of the 3B team, because 3B doesn't really do any. She does give good buffs, especially if you have her E1. But the issue with 3B is that she doesn't advance your Jingliu. I value advancing Jingliu way more compared to anything else, because the issue with Jingliu, she is a very old character and she only does damage in her turn, and she doesn't have any way to action advance herself. So if you don't take turns with her, then she's just a sitting duck who does nothing. But with Spark and Sunday, they allow her to give her more actions. So she just keeps getting more turns and doing more damage. This is the team that I personally like more, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. Some people might like 3v more, but personally, I'm not a big fan of the 3v team. I do prefer this team way more. And just recently, I also invested in Hyacinth. So before I had the Hyacinth at E0, but in her recent rerun that she got in 4.1, I actually decided to get her E2 because the E2 gives her a lot of speed. And honestly, I mainly got this just in case so that I can zero cycle or one cycle with Jingliu depending. Because zero cycling with her is very hard, but one cycling with her is very comfortable. Even without this one, like I could still one cycle before. But I just got this one like as a future proof for Jingliu because I believe Hyacinth is going to be glued with Jingliu for the rest of the game because I don't think she will ever get changed. The things that Hyacinth gives Jingliu are insane. So she allows her to stay permanently in her state. She gives her increased HP percent and her relics and everything. And these two things also helps her a lot because this speed buff does not only benefits the Jingliu, but it also benefits your support. So it makes you cycle very faster. Like this is why I was talking about earlier that I like Sunday and Sparkle, especially now with Hyacinth E2. Like it allows it so that they can even cycle even faster. And I think this is it for like Jingliu's teams, their gears and overview because I don't want to go into details because I don't want to make this too long. There's still a showcase that I want to make later. So yeah, if you have any questions, if you want to ask me about something, then just let me know. Also, I'm gonna be putting the gear at the end of the video for after the showcase if anyone is curious about it. The only issue with this boss is that it doesn't have any weaknesses to ice. So like this boss is not made for Jingliu, obviously. So, but this is just to show you more like how she performs against bosses that don't even benefit her. So yeah, let's get into it. And now into the showcase. So for this MOC cycle, we have the Sam at home, depending on how you want to see it. Like, if you like Sam more, then this might be a Sam at home for you. But anyway, like, this is just gonna be standard rotation. I'm gonna be playing. If there's any comments that I want to make, I'll be making them alongside the way. So I don't want to hit the crab in here so that I don't give him stacks because I'm trying to get as much damage as possible on it before I... Yeah, just standard stuff. So now I'm gonna switch to the crab. So the thing with Jingliu is that her first rotation is always gonna be because she doesn't get both buffs from Sunday and Sparkle until after. Like after now, she's going to be having both. But this is all because of when she enters the transmigration, because that does not count as an extra turn. It counts as a it's like 2 turns. So she loses 1 turn from her Sparkle, so now she doesn't have Sparkle's buffs. This is one of the things that I honestly wish they could have changed about her. But anyway, so I'm just gonna keep hitting the crab. I don't know. I don't think this is a crab. What is this? What is this actually? I always call it a crab, but now that I look at it, it looks like a... I don't know. It's like a salmon or something. So now she's gonna have both buffs, like from Sparkle and from Sunday. Yeah. Sometimes you might see me check here because this is the tally that I talked about. So now I can just do this and ult right after. So the crab is already dead. Yeah. And now we should... I don't think it's gonna keep, but I'm spamming my ult so that I can ult in case it doesn't kill. But yeah. So we're just gonna use this. And because of Sparkle, you never have to worry about energy. She has permanent energy at this point. But yeah, like here I'm kind of hesitant on whether I want to use Sparkle's ult, but I'll just use it because so that I can do more damage on this turn on Jingliu. Even more damage. So it can be a bit tricky here depending on your damage because you gotta know how to spread your attacks across the different bugs. So I think I hit this one. But yeah, like the issue with this boss is that you don't get to hit too often. So you see, I already low on this. I could have played it better, but whatever. So I'll just hold in here. I'm just using this just for the energy. It's not like for the buffs. I'm doing this just to get more tally for my stacks on the Jingliu. Okay, so getting hit is actually not a bad thing with Jingliu. So now I'm gonna go back to these, and then once these die, I'm gonna hope that it's gonna be enough to kill the other two that are on the right. Okay, they're done. Okay, perfect. So yeah, so now he's gonna take all of the damage from the wrong side. Like you see, it's impossible to do it at 0 cycle because it's just like you need a lot of damage. It's impossible, especially not with someone like Jingliu. Yeah, I have 9, so I'm gonna ult to get my max stack, because when you have 5 stacks in here, you always gotta keep track of these, because you always want to skill when you have max stacks so that you get the defense shred. Yeah, I'm just gonna ult with Hyacinth, get more tally. But I don't think I have enough though. Let me see, so how much? Oh, okay, so it's gonna be enough, nice. Perfect. Okay, so it should be enough. So it's gonna be this, and the ult. So we barely were able to one cycle this, by the way. So yeah, we're gonna do this. And ditch. 1.6 million damage. So the damage is respectable. Like I said earlier, so she does actually do good damage. The only issue is that you have to take turns to do that damage. Unlike a lot of the modern characters nowadays who have a lot of follow-ups and a lot of ways to cheat getting turns. As for her gear, so like I said earlier, the reason my Jingliu is considered a rank 1 is because of the fact that I have 134 speed while also maintaining high HP. Because the tricky part about Jingliu now after her Nova Flare is that the fact that you want to use an HP percent boost, if you can, assuming you can. So if you can use HP percent boost while being able to maintain 134 speed, then that's amazing. And it's not an easy thing to do because you need a lot of speed rolls on the rest of your gear, but this is her optimal gear because, like I said, there's not many ways to get HP percent. So if you get like HP percent boots and HP percent body, then you get a lot of HP from here. But anyway, for the rest of her gear, like if you're curious, so this is what it looks like. So like you see, I already have a lot of speed from my different pieces. Yeah, like I have 7 here, I have 6 here, I know another 7 here, some low rolls in the others. So yeah, and she is E6 like I said earlier. And the Litecoin I'm using hers. If I could, I would have changed to Mighty if I had it, but I don't have it, so... But like I said, it's not like that big of a difference. It's like maybe 10% at most, but probably not even 10%. I am not sure, don't quote me on that, but I don't think it's that significant. But anyway, for Hyacinth, this is my Hyacinth. She kind of needs 200 speed, but whatever, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, so this is her gear. She's E2 too. And Sunday is E1. This is his gear. He has his Litecoin too. And this is his stats. So he has 240 crit damage, while also having speed. So I know one thing that you might notice is that my Jingliu and Sunday might look like they have the same speed, but they actually don't, because the game has a hidden decimals in it where you can see them in the game. Like if you look in some other websites, you will see that you can see you have certain decimals. So my Jingliu is actually faster because she's like 134.8 or something like that. and she's faster than my Sunday. Like even if you noticed earlier in combat, she was going before Sunday. But yeah, you want your Jingliu to be faster than your Sunday. If your Sunday is 134, then you have to make sure that your Jingliu goes first. Like if you don't know where to check your decimals, you can just try it in game. Like if you have bot 135, just go bot with them in game and see who is going first, and you can adjust it from there. And this is Sparkle, so she needs like 160 60 speed, but because of E1, she does get free speed from here. Yeah, she's E2, and this is the gear that I'm using for her. Previously, I was using the other set, like I was using this set, just to be able to see if it works well with zero cycling, but it wasn't. And for the Lightcon, I prefer DDD. Like I could use her signature one, but the only thing that her signature one gives to Jingliu is the crit damage. She doesn't even benefit that much from the crit rate. I only put this for my in case I need it for Akron or Finon, but otherwise DDD is much better. But yeah, I think this is all there is to talk about my gear. But yeah, if you have any questions about Jingliu in general, not just about this video, then feel free to let me know, and if I can help, I'll be able to help. And see you next time.